My parents refused to take me to the hospital when I went into labor, saying, "We're busy with your brother's engagement party. Figure it out." I gave birth alone and cut ties 3 months later. My mom called, panicked. "Why has the bank frozen our account?" I smiled and said, "Ask your favorite child." I don't know if I ever truly belonged in my family. Maybe I was just the extra piece in a puzzle that had already been completed. My parents never outright said it, but I felt it. My younger brother, Daniel, was their pride and joy. Everything he did was amazing. Everything he wanted was important. Meanwhile, I learned early on that my needs were an afterthought. But nothing, and I mean nothing, could have prepared me for what happened when I went into labor. Let me back up a little. I got pregnant at 21. It wasn't planned, and the father bailed the moment he found out. I was scared, of course, but I was ready to face the challenge. I thought maybe this would finally make my parents see me. Maybe they'll realize I mattered too. Oh, how naive I was. The beginning of the end. Daniel got engaged around the same time I was preparing for my due date. My parents were ecstatic. They threw him a huge engagement party, one of those fancy country club type events with expensive catering, live music, and personalized decorations. I, on the other hand, had been waddling around in the background, very much ignored. The day of his engagement party, I started feeling off. At first, I thought it was just discomfort, but then the pain came strong and fast. My water broke right there in the middle of our living room. I panicked. I grabbed my phone and called my mom, who was already at the party setting things up. "Mom, it's happening. I need to go to the hospital." Silence, then with the most casual voice, she said, "We're really busy right now. Can you figure it out?" I felt my heart drop. "Mom, please," she cut me off. "I can't deal with this right now. Okay, call an Uber or something. We'll talk later," and then she hung up. I stood there gripping my phone, staring at the wall like I had just been struck by lightning. They weren't coming. They weren't going to come. I had never felt more alone in my life. I gave birth alone. The contractions were getting unbearable, but I had no choice. I somehow managed to order an Uber, gripping my belly and trying not to scream in the back seat while the driver threw me nervous glances. I barely made it to the hospital in time. The nurses rushed me in, and I gave birth to a beautiful baby girl, all alone, no mother holding my hand, no father pacing in the hallway, no family waiting outside the door. I remember looking at my daughter, her tiny fingers wrapped around mine, and making a decision. This is it. I'm done. The next day, I blocked their numbers. When they finally reached out days later, I ignored them. When they tried to visit, I refused to see them. Then, 3 months later, my mother called me in full panic. "Why is the bank freezing our account?" See, while my parents had spent years ignoring me, they had never ignored my money. I had a trust fund, nothing crazy, but enough to be comfortable. My grandparents had set it up before they passed, and my parents had managed it while I was a minor. The catch, it became fully mine the moment I turned 22. I had just turned 22 a month before giving birth, and so with the help of a lawyer, I did what I should have done a long time ago. I cut them off financially. They had been using my trust fund to help pay for Daniel's engagement party. They had been using my money for years, dipping into it like it was their personal piggy bank. But now it was gone. When my mother called, her voice was full of panic. "Why is the bank freezing our account? Why can't we access the money?" I took a deep breath, smiling as I held my daughter close. "Ask your favorite child," I said, and then